Who are you going to choose to be in 2024? The world needs you, the real you. The world needs for you to choose to be the person that God created you to be. Happy New Year, Get Your Rear in Gear listeners. I am so glad that you chose to be here with me today to Get Your Rear in Gear with Lori. Welcome 2024. It's out with the old and in with the new. It's a new year. But what's new to you? What's been happening with you? What's going on with you? How you answer that is a choice. John Wayne said, "Tomorrow hopes we've learned something from yesterday." You can choose to implement what you learned, or you can choose to do the same old, same old. And that's why January is focusing on choices. I think choices are so important in our life. As a matter of fact, it's one of the greatest privileges we have as humans is the power of choice. Every day of our life, we are faced with thousands of different choices, some knowingly, some unknowingly. And these range anywhere from a physical choice to getting out of bed to an internal choice of how do we respond to a situation. And it's crazy how the physical choice of hitting the snooze button ends up having an internal effect, an internal choice effect on us. Because if I don't get up when the alarm clock goes off, I don't work out. Then I probably hit the snooze button one more time or two. And then I'm running late to meet with a client, or I'm running late to get to the dental office. So one way or the other, there's something going on internal from that one physical choice of not getting out of bed. These choices aren't usually life or death. And so that we aren't faced with that life or death decision choice every day. But it does affect how we see things, how we perceive things, how we lead others, how we love others and ourselves, and how we live. These small choices, very small choices in our lives, it affects the direction that we're going in. One direction or another, it's either desired path or the less desirable path that we're going to be on due to this one choice that we made, even if it's small. It totally affects everything that we do. And I remember my grandmother, she would say, "You can choose, but sis, you don't get to choose your consequence." I'm like, yeah. And that so resonated with me as I got older. When I was a kid, I didn't pay any attention to it. And even when I was a teen, I probably didn't pay any attention to it. Well, I know I didn't pay any attention to it. But as I got older, I totally understand what my grandmother meant. And there was a lot more power behind that sis that she was talking about than just referring to me as sis. You know, when we make those choices, that freedom that we have, that's a freedom. That's our freedom. That's our choice to choose, and it's free. But it also means that we take ownership of the outcome. And that, you know, when we take ownership of something, that's where accountability and responsibility, they collide. And that sometimes when those outcomes aren't the desired outcome that we wanted, it's still our responsibility. And even when it's not the desired outcome, y'all, we still have a choice in how we respond to that. Because how we feel about this outcome, or how we see this outcome or perceive this outcome, our perspective on it, it shapes everything. I can remember driving home when I found out that I was pregnant when I was 17. And I told mom two things. One, I've cried once, I'm not going to cry again. Two, I'm not going to be a statistic. Those are choices that I made. And I didn't cry anymore until she was born. And I didn't become a statistic. And those two choices had so much power. It gave me power to own my responsibility, to be in charge of myself, and to be responsible for myself and for my unborn child. And so that there was actions in that and choices that I made in that. And that may not have been the greatest situation, but the way that I saw it, the way that I handled it, the way that I perceived it, it changed everything. Because I saw this as an opportunity to get to bring a piece of heaven onto earth and to get to love and to hold something. And so that makes the biggest difference whenever our choice shapes our life like that. And these choices do shape our existence into who we are today. And Frank says, our lives are fashioned by our choices. First, we make our choices. Then our choices make us. And let's just let that sit there for a minute, y'all, and just really think about that. First, we make our choices, and then our choices make us. And that's who we become today. Who are you going to choose to be in 2024? The world needs you, the real you. The world needs for you to choose to be the person that God created you to be. Even when we don't make these choices that are best for us. Like I said, we can make a choice to change the outcome of it, the way we look at the outcome of it. When it is a good choice for us, we can choose to let that move us forward into a different situation. And just there's so much power in choices. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I choosing in 2024? Do I understand the power of my choice? You know, when I say all your life you've had a choice, and remember the day that you decided. Because when we make a choice, there are some days in our lives that we're going to have to call back to the day that we made that decision and remember why we made the decision that we made. And not to let that stop us and not to, look back and to regret it or anything like that. But I'm talking about these good decisions that we make. Sometimes we can make a decision to be a certain way. And in my case, I chose to turn my life into being who I was created to be. And I remember the day that I decided to do that. I remember the day that I made a turn in my life. And so as 2024 is in the beginning, and you're sitting here and you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't know what to choose. Well, ask yourself, where do I want to be in a year from now? What do I want my life to look like? Who do I want to become? And when you answer those questions, then those are going to help you to make a choice to move forward into the person that God created you to be. And there's a lot of power in choosing to be who He created you to be. And not only that, to love the person that He created you to be. That in itself, there's a lot of power in that, because that when we come at every choice that we make, when we come from a place of love, that choice is different. So I want you to stay tuned for more episodes throughout the month of January that are going to focus on more choices and just how do we choose certain ways and what does that look like in our life. So if you've enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating so that everybody else would see it and hear it and understand it and be able to share this experience of choices. Not only that, but there's more to Get Your Rear in Gear with Lori. You just have to stay tuned so that you can hear it. And I want to thank you for being with us today and choosing to spend your time with me on Get Your Rear in Gear. And remember, until next time, keep moving forward to be the person that God created you to be. Make that choice.